welcome back to another slightly different Artifact Corner. This item is not something in our collections. It is a newspaper article. The Delords and the Halls were very avid newspaper readers and always wanted to stay up to date on the news of our region, but also of the nation and the world. With all of the rain we've been having this summer and the flooding that has been happening around our region, we thought it might be interesting to take a look back and see if our predecessors had any major flooding. So today we will be looking at a newspaper article from the Plattsburgh Republican dated October 4th, 1856. This article talks about a torrential rainfall that ultimately led to some major flooding in Clinton County. The article reads as follows. The destructive storm of rain which commenced about 8 o'clock on the evening of the 30th of September will long be remembered by the inhabitants of this part of the state. In this village and about us on the Saranac, the rain fell in a continued sheet for about 3 hours, from 9 in the evening until midnight. And although the water rose very rapidly and removed the driftwood and old logs from the locations occupied in the Saranac River for the past 20 years, drifting them into booms prepared for their reception, yet but little damage was done on the stream, either to dams, mills, or bridges, so far as we can learn. On the Ausable, the destruction of property was great. At Keysville, the upper dam gave way at 7 o'clock in the morning, sweeping into ruins the sawmills on each side of the river. All the gearing wheels and machinery in the lower part of Tabor and Company's grist mill has been destroyed. Scribner and Company have also been seriously injured in the damage to the stave factory. The new stone nail factory of Mr. Kingsland is nearly destroyed. A number of the nail machines were saved by early removal in the morning, but at about 7 a.m., the flood still rising, the machine shop of Messrs. Green and Conroe. This whole establishment was nearly new and built of stone in the most substantial manner. Soon after the fall of the nail factory, the machine shop gave way, and, with all its valuable lathes, tools, and machinery, was a mass of floating ruin. A blacksmith shop, with all its fixtures, owned by the same company, was next dashed to destruction. Coming down the river after the destruction of the swing bridge, the forge and rolling mill of Mr. Kingsland was seriously damaged. The bulkhead having given way, the flood poured into the upper end of the rolling mill and forge, doing immense injury, undermining and throwing down the furnaces, carrying out a part of the wall next to the river, washing out the foundation, displacing and injuring the machinery, and all of the above. The lower nail factory escaped uninjured. On the opposite side of the river, the flumes of North Kingsland and O'Keefe and Sons are gone. The damage to North Kingsland's axle tree establishment must be several $100s. The new slaughterhouse, barn, and sheds recently erected by Richard Hogue have every vestige been destroyed and swept off. Mr. Hogue barely succeeded in saving several valuable horses, carriages, and several head of cattle a few moments before the sheds and barns were floating to destruction. No lives were lost in the immediate vicinity. The next serious damage is on the dam at Kingsland's new rolling mill near the lower falls. Here the bulkhead and part of the dam have been carried off. The forge is entirely demolished, and also the bellows house and blacksmith shop. The machinery in the rolling mill is not injured, but the furnaces and stacks are nearly destroyed, and about 1/3 of the building from the foundation to the roof has been carried off. The old sawmill at Birmingham is gone. The bridge has been swept over the falls, and the property of the cast side of the river more or less damaged. A letter from Ausable Fork states that the damage to Mr. Rogers' works was not so great as at first reported, though quite severe. Their rolling mill dam on the east branch was swept away, with one overshot wheel, rolling mill bridge, water conductor from the west branch, with bulkheads to same stone boarding house, and 4 smaller dwelling houses on the flats below, Mr. Whiteley's office, an engine house and fire engine, and a large quantity of foundry patterns. 9 persons are supposed to be drowned. There were several persons in the stone boarding house, a 2.5-story building, when, in the midnight darkness, it was suddenly surrounded by the violent flood, undermined, and tumbled to pieces. The woman who kept the house, her 2 children, 2 servant girls, and a man of the name of Louis, 12 years in the employ of Mr. Rogers, were drowned. The family of Mr. D were absent at that time. 2 men had a most miraculous escape. They had climbed to the roof of the house, which floated down the river, and as it neared the bridge at New Sweden, both sprang for their lives and reached the bridge in safety and escaped to the shore. In a moment more, the roof and the bridge were dashed to pieces by the fury of the flood and swept down the rapids. At New Sweden, the sawmill and old forge on the south side of the river were swept away, and the sawmill on the north side damaged. At J. Lower Village, 6 miles above the Forks, the damage is great. Mr. Permort's lost their stock store, all their goods, forge, wheelwright shop, carding and clothes dressing, blacksmith shop, 2 coal houses, bridge, and dam were carried away. At Clintonville, the works of the Peru Iron Company have been severely injured. The bridge is gone, the bank separating the canal to the forge from the river is nearly washed away. The sawmill is gone, also a portion of the nail factory. On the Salmon River in this county, from Peasleyville to its mouth, a distance of 15 miles, but 1 bridge stands, the Schuyler Falls Bridge. We have seen some incredible images of the flooding from the Adirondacks and Vermont this summer. The extreme rainfall in such short periods of time have caused incredible damage in our region. This article from October of 1856 sounds eerily similar. The images used in this video are from more recent flooding in our area, as there are little to no images of the flooding in 1856. This article reminds us that we have had some seriously bad weather in our area for centuries, but the constant deluge this year has been particularly harsh. Fingers crossed for drier weather ahead, and as always, thanks so much for stopping by.